nuclear weapons except them. So the Tibetan monks, say for instance, me and the brother were talking the other day, there's certain techniques that they've taught like Tantra and Om, and I recommend that all those techniques may be good for them or good for the European, but I suggest for black folks it's nature. Practice Tantra, yes, but as something that's going to stimulate you to get you to that point of ejaculation. But in the end, make sure you have that orgasmic release, male and female, some kind of way. Because the energy becomes blocked. The organ becomes blocked. And monitor your thoughts.
How do you make the distinction between knowing whether you're being influenced by demonic beings or if you're being influenced by your ancestors? Because I know my blood is mixed and how do you make that distinction?
How do you know if you're being what?
Influenced by demonic beings or your ancestors?
Well, don't get me wrong when I say demon. That doesn't necessarily mean negative. It doesn't necessarily mean negative. All right? But I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
You know when your ancestors contact you because they're in your genetics, they're in your DNA. All right? Your ancestors are in your DNA. Say, for instance, you here now. You have a child. Your child have a grandchild. You pass away. Guess what? The child he have is you. Because they're magnetized to you because you have the thoughts that they need to come through your genetics. Everything is thought, Tahuti. All right? So the demons, they live in the morphogenetic grids in the earth. The ancestors live in your DNA. They understood that the God mind, which we talked about, do everyone understand when I talked about how God splits his mind off to view himself? If I'm God standing here, I made all of you so I can view different aspects of myself. I made thousands of species of horses, hundreds of species of horses, hundreds of birds, to experience what a bird is like. What is a bird? I have birds that can't fly. I have birds that fly. I have birds that can swim underwater. Because I want to experience these things to learn about myself. And eventually bring all that information back to me. Everyone understand that? The same thing happens in programming and mind control. When Aleister Crowley takes those children and hold them underwater until they're almost dead and revive them, a trauma takes place. That makes one compartment. And they do this till they get to 2,197 compartments, 13 by 13 matrix. They fracture the child's mind. And in there, they'll put in all these alters and blockers. They'll put in sexual programming here, or Barbie doll. Before we came to America and England, we didn't know what straightening hair was. We didn't know what lipstick, in the sense that white people use it. Yes, the Egyptians used lipstick, but they also used it in the sense that they painted their teeth black, not their lips. So you'll see people wear a lot of makeup and things like that. Where did that come from? That's general programming. It's known as Barbie doll programming. And that's where, let me show the slide on that. Now, Barbie doll programming comes out of the Monarch program, which was, again, going back to the butterfly net at Land's End. By the way, which connected up to Montauk Point. Land's End is a grid from Land's End hitting directly onto the point of Montauk, Long Island, where Aleister Crowley was practicing. We actually went there to Montauk in, I think, 1900s. to teach the Illuminati programmers, along with Manly P. Hall. And Manly P. Hall taught the Illuminati programmers how to astral travel, how to leave the body and go kill somebody. And they also taught the Illuminati programmers hypnotism. Manly P. Hall and Aleister Crowley. So this grid connected from Land's End, England to Montauk, Long Island. And if you go and do some research, you'll find out that on that grid, you had Flight 77 and all these different planes, Kennedy, all these plane crashes right on that grid. Understand that? So that's the type of energy going on that's being projected out. Montauk was a major thing in history, as the brother Clyde had mentioned. So monarch programming, and I put it in these particular squares to show you how the fracturing takes place. Now, growing up, we always looked at Barbie as a toy. These things cost like $500 and $600 now. This shit is a fucking occult thing going on here. The Barbie doll. And these are different aspects of the programming. See that? These dolls are going for up to what? I think the highest one is like $1,500. And they use the dolls in the programming to program children with. And that's what many of our toys are. The origin of the doll, you got Ken, and always watch your colors. Many of the colors are triggers. Like if you're driving down a car and you see a red light, physically, yeah, that means go. But if you're dealing with the spirit world, red means to go and not to stop. It means stop when you're driving physically on the road. But it means to go when you're dealing with the spirit. So if I'm going to go to war, say, for instance, I'm in the middle of a fucking riot or some shit on the street, make sure your ass ain't wearing no red. Because that is going to trigger those police officers who had to have a certain programming in them. Generationally. That's why they're chosen when they fill out that application, that social security number, those numbers that they have, they're chosen based on the generational spirits. Barbie started out as an X-rated puppet in a German pub. And later became a small prop doll on the counter at the bar. The person who originated it was a Nazi named Klaus Barbie. Klaus Barbie, who was sexually abused himself generationally. See, I'm telling you, that's all they deal with is the generational spirits. They know who you are on a generational level. That's why you got to fill out so much information on those applications. I'll be falsifying the hell out of shit. Hey, next time you go for a job and it says, read it. I don't know what it says over here. But in America, when it says African, when it says white, it says of African descent. And under black, it says of Negro stock. So every box on there that has a race on it, you are all of that, except for maybe Negro stock. Negro stock is a fucking slave. See, but we're afraid of that. We have a lot of fear based in us. We've been traumatized, and that fear is stuck in that reptilian brain. So Klaus Barbie, who was one of the worst Nazis in history, along with Mengele, created these particular Barbie dolls that was taken from Germany and put into America and given to your child. We're talking about monarch programming, sexual programming. That's what we're talking about. Everybody with me here? Yeah. All right? Who said no? Somebody said no. There's some more Barbie dolls going more into the occult realm. I mean, she got dolls as magicians, as cheerleaders. So what we're talking about here, these are the different altars that a person that has Barbie doll or Monarch programming may have in their matrix. And the thing is that if you try to tap into that to help them, demons come up. Just like if you go talk to a Christian, and you tell a Christian, no, that's not the way, you can't do this, a demon comes up and blocks you out. So demons are put in. Now you have general programming and you have specific programming. The specific programming, they actually take you in and torture you, or they have done that, especially with the blonde, blue-eyed children. Because there's an enzyme that they have in them that makes them more susceptible to mind control. And that's why you see the presidential models are always blonde and blue eyes. And that's symbolic of reptilian. That's their Christ. Their Jesus is a blonde, blue-eyed Jesus, or a dragon. A blonde, when you see a white dragon, and the white dragon has gold hair and the blue eyes, that's their God. That's their Christ. We're talking about Illuminati bloodlines here. You have 13 bloodlines, 13 by 13 matrix. But they put the programming in. And then you have under them the committee of 300, which are 300 people who are related to each other and related to the 13 bloodlines generationally. And they're all under mind control. So you can't get them to change their view on things. That's why you can yell all you want about Bush. He don't give a fuck. You can yell all you want how fucked up he is. You can come out with movies and all that. He's just going to laugh and joke any damn way. And of course, we know that Obama's related to him. Colin Powell is related to him. Everyone who ran against him is related to him. And now we find out that Hillary and Bush is related to him. Hillary laid in the coffin at the Skull and Bones with Bush. New York Times Magazine, 1979. So it's all a big Illuminati bullshit game. And they're using you. All right? So here are some of the, of course, Barbie. When you hear the name Barbie, it ain't no fucking toy. It's Klaus Barbie, a Nazi. All right? We know that originally we used dolls against our enemy when they came into Africa. Now, Michael Jackson is a very interesting case. I don't know if he's cloned or what the deal is, but he's definitely under mind control. If that's him, he's under mind control. Somebody who works in the industry told me that what he did was he sold his melanin to Liz Taylor. What? It sounds funny, but that's what I was told.
So it's what?
His melanin to Liz Taylor. They can extract the melanin from your body. That's what the Atlanta child murders were all about. They can extract it from your body. The most, excuse me?
Because they're going to pin a gland out.
They won't take the pineal gland out. They can't do that because if you take the pineal gland out, then you come down with a sickness called schizophrenia. Or there's another sickness too that you will get. Because what happens in schizophrenia, you get stuck on one side of the brain because the pineal gland is the device that you need to communicate with the other side. So if they take out the pineal gland, you get schizophrenia stuck in the spirit world or stuck in the physical, whichever one you were in at the time they took it out.
You just mentioned Atlanta child murders. What was that about?
That was when they were taking out, extracting melanin from the children because what they did was they found them very pale and looked like they were 100 years old when they found the children. Kept it out of the news. So they can, we laughed at Michael Jackson, but from what I heard, Liz Taylor actually bought his melanin. Did she die yet? Or is she still alive? Still alive. Still alive. You see. When you see dolls like Chucky and Puppet Master, you must understand that they are, when you go to the store and you buy these things, they actually invoke those dolls with entities. Not only do they invoke dolls with entities, they invoke statues with entities. They actually take live fetuses and put them in statues, and then you'll see something on the news. Oh, Mary was bleeding from the eyes and crying. Because it has actual flesh in it. And they invoke these things. And the origin of it came from Francis Bacon. Modern day times. But it's much more ancient than that. But he brought it to light, Francis Bacon. Invoking entities into statues. And Francis Bacon. Yeah. And the statues are used in ritual ceremony. And what they'll do is they'll lay a pregnant female out who has generational programming in her, and they will stimulate that germ that someone left behind in her womb and create a virgin child in the womb. They will take an invoked statue, and at the time that the woman is giving birth, they will kill one baby while this was being born and invoke the entity from the statue into the child. And the origin of the term Superman came from this science that Frawley was doing at the Land's End to produce what's known as a Superman. This is what he was doing. So they have these things. They have armies of Supermen. Cloned, mixed up genetics, and various types of things that they do have. The name of the army that they have is called the Earth Corps. If you've been in America after 9/11, you've seen some of the soldiers that were, we don't know what the fuck are they. When you saw them, they were like standing there like this. You couldn't talk, they were like robots. They were big and like this, they had machine guns, all in the train stations. They weren't like they didn't have any emotions. You could see that they even had no fucking aura. These were people in New York after 9/11. Standing around with machine guns, which we know the whole shit was set up, was bullshit. So they invoke entities into these dolls. So when you go to the store to buy your child some toys or some dolls, you gotta watch it. There's a whole thing going on with China, with the toys. How many of y'all remember that? I don't know if y'all got that over here. It was a big thing with the toys coming from China. So. All right. Let's talk about a few things here. Oh, so they break up the mind, fracture the mind, and they put in these sexual programs. And you may just, all of a sudden, if you're programmed that way, if a person is sexually programmed, they use different frequencies also. They put in different frequencies. For instance, they'll put in what's known as scorpion frequency. That's a person who has to have sex, but at the same time they have a killer instinct. Which tomorrow, I'm going to show you some drawings done by a person under Monarch Programming who is under scorpion frequency, some of the drawings that they did. And we're going to break that all down. But let's go through a few things here so we can understand something. Everybody got that email? Okay. Now, supposedly, that 2,197 is the extent of the human mind, that it couldn't be fractured anymore without actually killing the person or giving the person autism. Now, I said this before, and we're going to go deep into it tomorrow. All black people are autistic. And that's a very positive thing. A very, very positive thing. But when they use mind control on people and fracture their minds, and they go past that 2,197 number, those people become autistic. And autistic people were used in mental institutions to try other mind control techniques on them And then lately, in the 80s and 90s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, they just released them on the street. And it becomes almost normal now. But we are autistic, and it's not necessarily dealing with mind control. It's dealing with nature. Because when a person is autistic, usually when something happens to a person, they space out. A person who is autistic, all right, for her to do one, and then we're going to go right into the sex magic, right back where we were. All right, and here she is with Jane, my queen.
Praise the motherfucking Lord. I'm going to make this real quick. I'm going to make y'all come real quick. So close to fucking hell. You take my breath in your mouth, and the ache that it transmits to my thighs transports me into the altar of infinity. So close to fucking hell. You lick me, and I remain suspended on a drunken mountain of emptiness. So close to fucking hell. As your tongue searches for the center of my submission, you sacrifice me for the entire universe to see. So close to fucking hell. Thank Goddess for all of you, my kings, the gods of my dreams. But there is still only one devil that makes me yell, wow! Because that motherfucker brings me so close to fucking hell.
Here are some Bible verses dealing with the generational spirits through sexuality. All right, right in your Bible. Song of Solomon, chapter 4 and verse 11. Thy lips, O my spouse, drop as honeycomb. Honey and milk are under thy tongue. Now what is that talking about? Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me they know what that means. Oral sex. Oral sex. Because when a person has oral sex and the man ejaculates in the mouth or in the face, on the facial area, you become imprinted with the thoughts of the person. And that's one reason why you don't want to have a female, or actually a male too these days, want to have many lovers because, and this is what they do in sex magic rituals. They'll have what they call, and back in the days we call gangbang. Many guys on one woman, and they fracture the mind because each one of them have a thought pattern that they ejaculate on the face or in the mouth. And she takes on the thought patterns of the genetics because everything you put on your skin, you should be able to eat because you absorb it like a sponge. But the men would not hearken unto him. This is Judges 19 and 25. But the men would not hearken unto him. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth unto them, and they knew her and abused her all the night until morning. So if you read that whole chapter, it's talking about how they sexually programmed her by many men as in the form of a gangbang. And that's how sex magic is done. Usually they put a woman down in a 5-pointed star and place a 6-pointed star over her. That's Israel and America. That's why America has the red, white, and blue flag. And that's why Israel has the blue and white flag with the six-pointed star. They're married to each other. The five-pointed star is female. In this instance, the six-pointed star is male. All right? So it's right in your Bible. Go read it. Judges 25, 19 and 25. And they actually quote these verses during the ritual. Anybody in here ever read the Bible? You ever saw this in the Bible? And Amram, Exodus 6 and 20. And Amram took him, Jochim, his father's sister's to wife. He took his father's sister to wife, and she bare him Aaron and Moses. That means that they kept it in the family. We're talking about Illuminati bloodlines here, generational spirits. Aaron and Moses' mother was the sister of his, the wife of his father's sister. Generational spirits used throughout your sexuality in mind control and programming. Genesis 19 and 36. Thus were both the daughters of Lot with child by their father. See, they're not dealing with an emotional thing here, it's science. I mean, there's definitely mind control on me for that shit. I could not do it. But what I'm trying to say to you is, this stuff is right in the Bible, these rituals, and how they use your genetics, and how things are programmed into your genetics, and they use those genetics from ancient times. They're not looking at you for who you are now, they're looking at your genetic bloodline. In America, the people who are treated the worst are people with slavery in their ancestry, because the slaves have the genetics of not only black people from Africa, but white people, which makes us even more powerful through the race mixing, through the rapes. But there's a form of traumatization with that, because we know about the whole story of how they would pull the woman apart in the five-pointed star position. Get the comic book, I talked about it before, Young Witches. We'll break that all down for you. Samuel, 2 Samuel 1 and 26. My brother Jonathan, very pleasant, hast thou been unto me, thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of a woman. Now what the fuck can pass the love of a woman? You telling me you love this nigga more than you love a woman? That's some homo shit going on right there. Just be aware of it when you go to church. How the programming works. It's right there. And you'll read that passage, but won't be aware of what's going on, and it's going where? Right into the subconscious mind. And that's where you get the most sexual shit going on in church. Remember, I was a minister for a long time. I got a picture here. I was a minister. I went all the way to be a bishop. And I've seen these things. Most of the people there are there to get either a husband or a wife. First Samuel 18 and 27. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistine 200 men. And David brought their foreskins, and they gave them in full tale to the king. What the fuck is that all about? You mean to tell me you went to war, cut the foreskins off of how many niggas? A whole army, hundreds of men, took their dicks out. You took the dicks of dead men, cut the foreskin off and brought them on a platter to the king. What kind of fucking ritual is that? That's in the Bible. That is 1 Samuel 18 and 27. Major rituals here. The Bible is one of the heaviest books you could find, if you know how to read it. It's got the science in it, it's got the rituals, it's got the Illuminati in it, it's got the reptilians, all that shit is in there. Revelation talks about the dragon. That's reptilian shit. And by the way, Revelation was actually the first book, because you got to have a revelation to even read into that shit. You got to wake up and even go there. All right? Going through a few Bible verses here. Now this shit, I see, me and my queen, we go to pawn shops all the time to see what the fuck is going on. We investigate shit. And there's one not too far from us, and we saw a video in there where it had some kind of feces sexual shit going on. Where people rubbing shit all over them, having sex, eating it and all like that. By the way, I don't know if I have it here, I might have sold out of it, but the brother might have a tape called Commercial Programs of Illuminati, where a person who worked for CBS gave me a film clip of a subliminal message for Three's Company where she, in between, while it was coming on, they put in where she was eating dung. Subliminally, and you watching it on TV, you don't see it, it clicks too fast. So it's called Commercial Programs of Illuminati. I'm showing the footage, all this footage of subliminal messages that were shot through your television, and it slowed down so that you could see it. It's a, no, DVD. Commercial Programs of the Illuminati. So a person who would have shit wiped all over them and eaten it, that's a person with low self-worth. They need to be punished. And they feel they need to be punished, and they're punished because you only punish yourself. Nobody punishes you, you punish yourself. And that's why you need to forgive yourself. Low self-worth. So it says here, Malachi 2 and 3, behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces. This is God talking. This is the God of the Bible. Not only is he going to corrupt your seed, so that when they grow up, they can't be saved by Jesus because God already programmed them to be corrupt. They're already programmed. Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread shit upon your faces, even the shit of their solemn feasts, and one shall take away with it. Whatever the fuck that means. That's Shakespeare writing in poetry. That's poetry language. It's called Shakespearean language. That was a company of people that wrote the Bible or translated it into King's version of it. You know, King James also had a book on demonology that he wrote. So if you look at the writing of that book and the writing of the Bible, two different things. But if you look at the works of Shakespeare, you're going to see that, and not only that, but the names in it. And all the names of the books of the Bible are names of people who worked in those different companies that put together those sections of books. Ezekiel 4 and 10 to 17, and thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung. Thou shalt bake it with shit that cometh out of man in their sight. That means that we want you to make some cakes of shit for you to eat, but you have to watch the nigga shit it out and cook it. Praise the Lord. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that shall come out of man in their sight. Ezekiel, you don't have to believe what I'm saying, it's right there for you. Ezekiel 4 and 10 to 17. Understand that? And remember, these numbers are dealing with, there were no numbers in the Bible. And if you see italics, those are words added. They're called bolder italics. Now I just added this in because I thought it was actually funny. And it says here in 1 Samuel 25 and 22, so and more also do God unto the enemies of David, If he leave of all that pertain to him by the morning light, any that piss against the wall. I'm like, what? You mean God is sanctioning for me to go piss against the fucking wall? That's some wild shit. Ain't that wild? That's in the Bible. It's funny how we do things by nature, don't even know it. Because that's, you know, when I'm downtown, I don't have to run look for no motherfucking bathroom. I can piss right upside the wall. The Bible say it. For in very deed, as the Lord God of Israel liveth, which hath kept me back from hurting thee, except thou hast hasted and come to meet me, surely there had not been left unto Nabal by the morning light any that pisses against the wall. 1 Samuel 25 and 34. Very interesting. And there's a whole bunch I could show you, but let me go back to dealing with the subject at hand. Here's a diagram, and I have many diagrams that were given to me by people who deal with this, by people who actually were programmers. This is a diagram of where they put the program, put the chips. Now, when they put an implant in you, when you go to the hospital, or even they're doing it to children now, they're putting in microscopic chips. And as I said yesterday, they'll put chips in the vaginal area, and here it says, special attention to genital area, itching, forced orgasm in these parts, and hot needles. So they put this here because this opens you up. Because everything that you see on TV and in the movies is projecting out sexuality. It's projecting out what they want you to do through your sexuality, the root chakra, the lowest level there is. They're also coming at the astral plane, so you got to watch it with that too. The New Age stuff.
How do they do that?
The New Age stuff is coming at the astral plane through frequencies. They're using gigahertz and megahertz for the crown chakra. They're using Hertzian levels, lower Hertzian levels, because your body resonates somewhere around between 52 to 42 hertz, somewhere around there. The higher you're resonating in the Hertzian level, the more healthy you are. The root chakra lowers the Hertzian level, and it makes you sick. Go lower than, say, 30, you die. So, the stuff they're showing you through television, that's why TVs are not really high up. They're low by your fucking penis and vagina. They're low. And they beam shit out. Because TV is dealing with the astral plane. It's dealing with the astral plane. And it's hitting that root chakra. And anything red deals with the root chakra. It opens you up sexually. And tomorrow we're going to get into combinations of colors and what that do. How many of y'all saw the cosmic memory when I went through the list of colors? Do I have to do that tomorrow? Have y'all seen that? The tape on the colors? Okay, well, we'll do that tomorrow also. But colors are very important and significant in sexuality. If a female wants to know if a man really loves him, and vice versa for the man, surround yourself in pink. If you surround yourself in pink, anyone who dislikes you can't even be around you. If you take a bedroom and paint it in pink, and you have a woman or a wife or a girlfriend and y'all living in that room and she can't stay in there, she does not love you, because pink is dealing with unconditional love. If you are trying to communicate love to a person, to connect to him, you could surround yourself in pink, visualize a pink cord connected to that person, and put them in pink. And then send the words you want them to hear through the cord to them. And if they're open, if they have anything, or any kind of thoughts towards you as far as a connectedness, they will begin to move toward you. Pink. You could use that in visualization. You can also use Egyptian techniques, but we're going to deal with that tomorrow. But
It's not today.
no, that's the workshop. The workshop.
Tomorrow, please.
If a female is trying to find the right man, look at your own features, study yourself, and look for the reflection of yourself. If you have your bottom lip sticks out more than the top lip, you have more male energy. And so you want to get with a brother, they may have a top lip stick out more rather than a bottom lip stick out more. Because if both of your bottom lips are sticking out, you're going to have problems. That's male energy. You ever see a woman when they stick their bottom lip out? That's male energy. Understand that. If you're trying to find sisters, if you're trying to find a brother, or a brother if you're trying to find a sister on the frequency, or can be trained into the knowledge, they must have their ears have to stick out off their head in some kind of way because they're thinking outside the box. People with their ears closer to the head think more inside the box. This is the box. This is the 13 by 13 square that can be fractured by God mind. If you have a husband, or if you have a wife, and you suspect things, sorry brothers. Men, when they lie to you, men lean forward. Men lean forward, and they also add things it'd be a story, something may happen. And men will add more information to it that didn't really happen. They lean forward and they add information in. Female is the reflection or the mirror. They lean back and they leave shit out. All right? So this is to get you to understand how to. In Africa, what would take place was when two youngsters wanted to get married, you would have to bring them before the group of elders. There was no shame in your sexuality. If you look at some of the films or go to Africa now, they still have some openness about their breasts and about the coverings. They don't wear as many because we're wearing a lot of clothes, and which is good now because all the fucking spraying and shit. But people of melanin are not supposed to wear a lot of clothes. You're blocking the sun from your penis area, whereas the most melanin is there in the penis and vaginal areas. So you're blocking off melanin from all parts of your body by wearing heavy clothes, or especially tight clothes. Forget it. So in Africa, what would happen is that they would bring them, if they wanted to get married, they would bring them before the elders, and they would break down every aspect of who they are, their features. They would look at how they're shaped and determine whether or not these people were made for each other. Do the astrology on their charts and the whole nine. The final stage would be before the elders, whether they would decide or not y'all should be married or should not. Okay? All right. So, yeah, they use this 13 by 13 matrix in the middle of the chest here, which equals the number 2,197 fractured elements in the mind. And they will put implants in your teeth, behind the eyes. They'll put cameras behind the eyes. They will put a implant on the pineal gland. And once they do that,